techno-feudalism. The concept has been popularized by a very well-known economist and a former Greek minister, Professor Yanis Varoufakis.
There's a lot of hype right now about AI, and at the same time, a lot of skepticism as well. We have to unravel and unlayer that one by one.
These top tech giants are responsible for hollowing down the small companies. They are either acquiring them or they are just picking up the top leadership layer from these SMEs who are progressive.
Imagine the power of the cloud. Cloud, exists for the last 25 years. It is giving the speed of innovation in the hands of the end user now.
They can create new business models, but is there a glass ceiling?
This is a big concern in US, and this has been recently quoted in news as well.
Vulnerabilities of SMEs when they collaborate with these big tech giants. They can use their own data, but small companies only have limited amount of data. You're quoting a tech giant though. They're the ones that are benefiting. What about SMEs? They hold the data, they hold the digital infrastructure. What is it that they don't control? Tech companies don't take any responsibility. They just take our data, they take the population's data, and then they work with the data, benefit from it, and then at the end we lose our jobs, and then it's the government's fault.
Welcome to the Reframe Lab, where conversations shape perspectives. Our aim is to uncover critical and hidden aspects that are shaping our businesses and enterprises today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Junaid, for joining us today. I think I'm going to start off with a term you probably have heard before. It's called techno-feudalism. The concept has been popularized by a very well-known economist and a former Greek minister, Professor Yanis Varoufakis. And so what he argues is that capitalism has shifted. It's shifted and transformed into the hands of the giant tech companies, the likes of Amazon and Google. Now they control vast amounts of infrastructure with the rollout and possibly takeover of AI, the digitization of infrastructure. They control vast amounts of data, if not all of our data. And I think it'll be really interesting to hear your perspective. It'll be interesting for entrepreneurs listening to our show, CEOs, leaders in the field, especially around the SME sector. What are the realities of potentially competing, working? What are the realities of this new environment that we live in today?
Right. My name is Junaid. I've worked with large blue chip companies across my career, from companies like Nestle to Ernst & Young and Amazon and AWS as well, the cloud wing of Amazon, advising multi-sector clients across consumer products, goods, manufacturing companies, retail, life sciences, facilities management, construction, mining, and energy. So building on that experience and what I've seen out there, with this ever-changing landscape, we're creating new news, basically. There's a lot of hype right now about AI, and at the same time, a lot of skepticism as well. We have to unravel and unlayer that one by one. With the plethora of data that is available today, these entrepreneurs and the companies have to really work backwards from what they're trying to achieve. In this global economy, which is greater than $40 trillion as a global economy, there's opportunity for everyone, from small companies to mid-tier size to large enterprises. When entrepreneurs are trying to create new insights or new benefits that they want to create social value out of, they have to start from what is the customer experience that they're trying to offer or unlock? What are the products or services that they're trying to create? What are the new business models or innovations or renovations thereof that they're trying to create? At the end of it, they have to come back to the value they're creating. And with so much data out there, AI is just one part of the evolution that we are seeing with these large tech companies coming in and building services. And there was an IMF study recently that in 2025 alone, $7 trillion worth of economic value is going to reshift because of business model renovation and
but
innovation.
This value, we hear a lot about these trillions of dollars and trillions of dollars being poured in an investment. But actually, who owns this investment? Where is the money? Is the money only around those big tech companies?
Actually, building on that, there is a deeper allegation beyond that these top tech giants are responsible for hollowing down small companies. They are either acquiring them or they are just picking up the top leadership layer from these SMEs who are progressive. And it's just created a graveyard of small and medium enterprises who had the potential to grow within the tech space. So anything on that side?
Yeah, I think we have to, these companies, you have to take a step back and see how their journeys have become from garage doors to where they stand today, like Microsoft, Google's, Amazons of the world. They've basically created a multiplier effect to the economy. They have a platform-based model. Whatever service or offering you look at and do a deep dive for Amazon, Microsoft, or Google, these big tech companies, they create a platform approach, which is
But they
standard.
have also become the feudal lords of this space.
Now, I would argue, I mean, they're creating a new social contract where they're offering this platform and technology. Imagine the power of the cloud. Cloud, I mean, exists for the last 25 years, but it is giving the speed of innovation in the hands of the end user now. People in the schools can start experimenting that. People in the incubation centers with vocational trainings.
Who is benefiting from it?
I mean, it's going from right pocket to the left pocket question. But if you look at the larger picture, if you take a step back, it's creating an opportunity platform in the hands of the end users who can create new business models. It's a shared ecosystem.
They can create new business models, but is there a glass ceiling?
Glass ceiling for
in the sense they can grow to a point, but then they'll either be acquired, taken over.
Snap down, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
in your experience, so we don't want to kind of we don't want to start bashing these giant tech companies, but I think our listeners want to really understand the realities. Is it really worth an entrepreneur? So a journey of an entrepreneur, they aim to be a revolutionist, so they have this aim, but you know, what are the realities? Do they work harder? Most entrepreneurs work 18 hours a day because they love what they do.
Yeah.
They develop the technology. They put everything in, and in many ways they live in poverty in some sense.
Yeah.
And so they work really hard, and when they're just about to see the kind of the fruits of their work, they're potentially taken over, or they can't move forward because you have these digital lords, we call them potentially digital lords. You know, they either outcompete them or...
This is a big concern in US, and this has been recently quoted in news as well. All these upcoming tech companies have either been snapped down by these big giants, as I shared with you. So where do we stop? Who has to benefit from it? That's the real question. And what's your experience around it?
Well, I mean, my experience, even at Amazon, the way Amazon looks at ideas and innovation, not all the ideas, make it to the door and become successful. So first of all, you have to have that culture of innovation and the resilience to believe in your idea and be willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time, as Jeff Bezos states a lot of times on his whole core philosophies. But I would say from my experience, one of the clients I've advised who was in a similar situation, they were trying to create something brand new which doesn't exist in the market. So just sharing the context of that client, they were the largest company providing vehicles which are adjusted to disabled people with small adjustments in the vehicles. They were managing a fleet of 300,000 vehicles. But they wanted to create a new business model on how do they connect this ecosystem of fleet so they can ensure the cars are running on the road without any breakdowns or failures, which would result in poor customer experience for the elderly people who are buying these specific cars from this supplier, for the disabled people, inconvenience on the road, and extra cost paying to their adding pressure to their maintenance budget. So essentially what they were trying to do is create a new technology using the power of cloud, data, and AI to connect these vehicles together. You can call it a connected vehicles platform. And they had to start from somewhere. They got in touch with Amazon AWS, where I was working at that time. I was advising this customer myself. And we went on a journey of starting a prototype, starting with a small subset of vehicles, trying to connect the data from that vehicle. In that journey, there were other challenges that kept on surfacing, like would the OEM manufacturer, like if it's Audi as a vehicle, is the data easily transportable from the car into the platform, or do we have to put in a middle?
So basically what you're saying is that it's a two-way journey, not a one-way journey. So if these tech giants are being poached, or these tech giants are poaching these small enterprises, there's a lot of willingness from these smaller enterprises to really collaborate or perhaps work out with these big firms so that they can have a multiplier effect. Is that what you're...
Absolutely. I mean, when you go on these journeys, initially you have to be really clear on the working backwards mentality. What are the needs that you're trying to solve for? Often the ideas and products fail because the need that they're addressing for the market is not well understood. So, but that's okay. That's part of entrepreneurship journey. When you're on the journey, you realize new things. So again, coming back to this example that I was sharing, halfway during the implementation, the incumbent realized that they can create a new business model. Now that they have a plethora of data available through this connected ecosystem, they can start packaging this data, bundling the data, start selling it to OEM providers who can start gathering insights about how their spare parts or vehicle is operating, and also bundling this as a service and selling to insurance providers. Insurance companies can look at the rate of statistics.
But where does AWS come in? Why did they collaborate with AWS?
That's a good question. So AWS comes up with AWS has the largest infrastructure in the world when it comes to cloud network. They have the largest presence in terms of data centers across the world, which act as virtual cloud for all the kind of customer segments, whether it's public, education, SMB, enterprise, government, right? From all the sectors they would cover. So AWS comes in and they offer this platform approach to the company to start small. Think big, but start small with a controlled, chaotic environment based on the budget that they have, the risk appetite that they have, the partnerships they can develop. And it becomes a prototype which is open for collaboration. Like we were engaged as AWS professional services with the customer. They engaged their OEM providers like BMW, Audi, and Nissan to engage in this ecosystem. And then they had an insurance provider who also came in. And they started exchanging these ideas, which created all of a sudden new business model for the company. And they started packaging this data and sold this data to the insurance companies. So it's all of a sudden creating new customer experience channels, new revenue models, ways of reducing the OPEX and CAPEX cost in their maintenance part of the P&L, and creating that new news in the industry, which is, using digital to create a new business model and creating that inspiration across the automobile industry in general. So you see a multiplier effect happening there from...
That is an excellent example of collaboration. Where do you see the vulnerabilities of SMEs when they collaborate with these big tech giants? And from all sectors, I know you're an expert in supply chain, for example. Are there any vulnerabilities do you see in your experience and when you advise companies, especially SMEs, and working with these big tech giants?
Yeah, so we have to understand one thing. This AI has been around for a while. What recent phenomena is now creating more buzz is generative AI, and even more recently, agentic AI. We often talk about in our client meetings that you can't go without mentioning Gen AI in a meeting these days. So I think this is part of a transformation journey that every company goes from. I'll start with enterprise customers first. When it comes to transformation, it is not just about looking at tech, and it's not a plug and play that you bring in tech, you pull into your capabilities, and it will start delivering results. Transformation starts from workplace transformation, culture, the culture of innovation, and then the adoption and change management, how you handle it. So the enterprise customers often feel the challenge in this culture of creating that change and creating the appetite and creating the right business case. It can be very, a misnomer to see that AI fits every part of your problem. It should not be that way. Most companies that succeed have a good culture of innovation as a core philosophy or DNA of their organization, and they know how to approach problems. They work backwards from the problems. They map what are the opportunities that will address those problems, and then find the right levers.
But so what can AI actually do? Because we know a lot of companies, especially in this region, they see AI as ChatGPT. So introducing ChatGPT. Are there any tools that, in your experience, that Or can you give us examples of tools, of AI tools that actually have revolutionized or completely changed the business model
Right.
of a company?
Yeah, again, I can speak from my experience from AWS. So AWS has, more than 300 proven and tested services which are based on cloud, of which there are plenty in the artificial intelligence space. Amazon Bedrock is one of the most core foundational service that AWS offers, around which customers can plug in their data in the AI/ML services that AWS offers. They can put guardrails, security, and really make it their own. So I think, coming back to your question, I think there's a potential risk these days that customers are throwing all the problems with the chat on the chatbot. That is not the right way to go. That's one of the risk of adoption of AI by just throwing chatbot at everything.
Right.
The differentiator that will be created going forward is, how do these companies use these large language models that are now the next evolution of AI as we are seeing it in front of our eyes? How do they make it more bespoke to them? And that's where, in my experience, companies like Amazon are offering to customers. It's not a SaaS, software as a service, or a play, but it's more of a bespoke custom development play where customers can actually use their own data to their advantage, put in security guardrails. Otherwise, what happens is
that they can use their own data for their own, but small companies only have limited amount of data.
Yeah.
And actually building up on that, if we really look at the application aspects and the reality, only 5% have been successfully been able to employ that. And that might be one of the reasons. So the real question is, what good has come from AI so far? AI is responsible for the AI layoffs. AI is responsible for reducing down your brain activity. AI is responsible for producing very shit type of content. AI stops. So is it really progressive? Is it really contributing to the economy, or is it like the negative effect that we are just expediting?
Yeah, I think whenever there is hype, there is a lot of focus on negative news than the positive side that you can still benefit from. And I would quote Jeff Bezos, who recently went on a tech conference and said, "We are in an industry bubble. It's not a .com similar bubble. AI is real." So coming back to your question,
you're quoting a tech giant, though. They're the ones that are benefiting. What about SMEs?
Yeah, I can come to that. So as per McKinsey's and BCG's, the strategy consulting companies of the world, customers from across all segments of varying size and revenue and headcount are getting 30 to 40% efficiency gains through operational efficiencies improvement using AI.
What was that? Did you say
30 to 40%?
30 to 40%.
Up to 30 to 40% in operational efficiency.
And that's translating to?
That's translating to more bottom line improvement, meaning more profit for the organization. They're of 10 to 20% profit margin improvement, which the companies can reinvest in their business.
And that's with SMEs or just the larger companies?
I think with SMEs, it would vary. I would say maybe 5 to 10%, depending on the size as well, again, and the industry type.
So, Junaid, tell me, what is the best case scenario to apply AI in your view? You work with a lot of organizations as an advisor, as a consultant. When do you go ahead and apply AI?
Yeah, so again, like I said before, AI, you should not have an approach to throw AI at every problem. Like AI has been there for the last 20 years. We have had deep learning, machine learning models for the last 15, 20 years.
Nothing compared to now, though. There's no comparison.
Yeah, and what is happening now is that you should look at complexity factor that you're trying to solve for. And complexity can mean numerous things. For large companies, it can mean what are the number of sub-processes that you're touching. Because when we come to supply chains or the network of ecosystem that is created today, everything is moving towards a connected ecosystem or a connected product mental model. This has been an evolution from 20 years ago when, conveyor belts or robotics was coming into manufacturing. And at that time, if you put in one robot on a conveyor belt, that would do one job and not connect with the second part of the process. But now what is happening is the complexity in the interconnected and ever-changing connected product ecosystem around us, whether it's connected airports, connected equipment on the ground, equipment that companies are using for maintenance, connected supply chains, connected logistics. we have so much data through IoT, Internet of Things, millions of devices connected, making these data available, bringing them down into a single view of the customer or single view of a supplier, on top of which companies can start building advanced use cases.
So what is your biggest challenge when you are in this environment?
Yeah. And funnily enough, the biggest challenge starts from the most common thing, which is data.
Is it data or human? Is it data or culture?
I think
Do we have the culture to go for?
Yeah, this culture and skill. That's the first part of it. Having the mindset and creating that culture in an organization. If an organization does not have a culture of innovation, learning, failing fast, learning fast approach, then they can't experiment too much.
I mean,
regardless.
we applied a big machinery, completely automated the systems for a diplomatic organization, and absolutely failed it because the culture was not supportive. Things are very slow. They still want to work on paper based. And our biggest learning from that was, unless and until you don't do the cultural shift, the mindset shift, no matter what car you're driving, if you don't know how to drive it, it doesn't matter. You're in a Tesla or in a BMW, it's all the same.
Yeah, I mean, not all companies are the same. You have to appreciate that factor. There's Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and then the SMB sector. So I would say it's a bit of bottom up and top down both. Leadership also has accountability. They have to be data literate. They have to be AI literate. They have to
be AI literate. So they have to. This is all kind of skills that they need, and that's very expensive. There is a kind of a pound sign connected, a dollar sign connected to upskilling.
I think even there, coming back to where the big tech is creating multiplier effects. So big tech, like I can speak on AWS behalf, have created plethora of learnings for all skills across all enterprises, whether it's SME, government, business leaders, tech leaders, software developers, all personas have free trainings on AWS.
Okay.
There's a large investment happening in this region and across the world.
But I think, Junaid, don't you believe that in order to really make the next shift, you would need a triple helix where the governments step in, the private sector steps in, and you have the public-private partnership kind of a model? Only then we can go forward and move our society and the businesses.
Definitely. I think without the right partnerships in the right ecosystem, all facets of society will not benefit from the use of AI. So that partnership is very critical and key to bring them.
But governments would. I was reading a news today that Sam Altman is meeting the president of UAE right now, and there's 14% by 2030 contribution to GDP by AI. So governments, there's a big play in there for governments to benefit from it.
No, absolutely. And again, we have to go back to what are the top 3 to 5 priorities for a government that they want to maybe bring to the people on the road or the citizens in the countries. Is it better citizen experience or customer experience, like we say for an enterprise customer? Is it better access to deliveries through the right infrastructure and skills and technology? Like, in UAE, we experience 15-minute delivery to our homes. How is that possible? With the use of AI ML, right?
To the earlier part of Malak's question, then do you agree that there is feudalism around it, or do you think, no, that's not the case?
No, I would argue that's not the case.
But there is too much evidence that is the case. That they hold the data, they hold the digital infrastructure. What is it that they don't control? What is it that they don't control?
I mean, again, we can argue on that. If you come back to Imran's question, in UAE again, how is the government going to create a multiplier effect? And at the same time, you're saying the tech giants control everything. But if UAE wants the AI first strategy to improve citizens' life, they have to use a network. And AWS is investing $5 billion in this region to create one of the largest data centers in this region. And that will allow Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, with that investment in this region, to create large economies of scale effect for multiple industries in Saudi. and at the same time create collaborative opportunities across the Gulf and Middle East in general using the power of cloud.
So let's go back to AOFs. So they're AI layoffs. I had a closed meeting last week with the vice president of a very well-known chocolate company. And she said to me, Malak, we're predicting in the next 5 years, 40% of our workforce will be gone because we are embracing AI. So let's look at the implications of that. Number one, you're going to have vast amount of people, citizens, with no job. Number two, who is responsible for upskilling these people? Is it the government? Or is it the companies that have just thrown them away? And I suppose also number three, are there jobs once, is there a point of reskilling? What jobs are going to be available? What new jobs are going to be available?
Yeah, very interesting question. So I can speak from what's happening maybe around my ecosystem. What am I observing? So in the enterprise and corporate sector, companies are heavily investing in multi-skilling and investing in technology, making sure that this new technology is adopted and is fit for purpose. It means something for the company rather than just riding the bandwagon of AI. So companies are investing in skills and reskilling and upskilling people. Secondly, we are.
What are those skills though? Can you give us a couple of examples?
I think we are in the middle of a transformation. The operating models have not fully shifted yet. We are in a learning by doing phase. So for example, in our company, in Amazon, we're trying to democratize the use of AI, Gen AI, and we build our own tools. And the mental models that technical teams have is to bring the technology in the hands of the end user, rather than always them relying on the technology team to keep on releasing these tools. So they're thinking of how do we make these tools flexible and democratize these tools and bring them to the end users who can then connect the data across our supply chains or our customer data and make advanced decisions. So while this kind of transformation happens, in which we're learning by doing, there'll be new roles.
There'll be new roles? Roles.
So I foresee, even though I think companies are creating a focus towards productivity improvement and there's a discussion on layoffs, my personal perspective, my personal opinion is that we are in a learning by doing phase, and next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see a lot of reshifting of the roles, and there'll be new roles created in which we will have AI teammates working alongside us, and we'll have to create intelligent human in the loop rules, because we can't, be hands off. We're not there yet.
The dilemma, however, is that there's a population bulge. We are sitting at 8.1 billion in terms of the headcount. And it's not slowing down. It's massively increasing. On the other end, with AI, you're reducing down the jobs. So the two sides the equation doesn't balance.
Yeah, but I think that's a bigger question for governments across the world to come together and
stop
to discuss.
Babies.
I think it's to discuss how do we create new social contracts. And I think we are discussing this question way ahead in time. Like I said, we are still in the experimentation stage. The AI is here. AI is real.
So once the problem is created, then we discuss. How is that a good strategy?
I think proactive approach from the governments need to come in place now. So they start creating some guard rules. But
and the big tech companies don't take any responsibility. They just take our data, they take the population's data, and then they work with the data, benefit from it, and then at the end we lose our jobs, and then it's the government's fault.
No, I think again it's a misnomer of that mass layoff and doomsday picture. I think that is being
It's
created.
not a doomsday picture. It's actually, it is a doomsday picture, but
it's 150,000 layoffs by Microsoft.
Yeah,
in August.
Yeah,
that's the reality. These numbers are real, and we just can't put our head in the sand and say it's all exciting and we're all going to benefit, because actually we're not all going to benefit. And so the reality is, where there's going to be many losers. And, is there an opportunity for for entrepreneurs, SMEs to stop that from happening and regaining the power, shifting the power dynamic. So where the SME sector grows and flourishes and society flourishes, is there an opportunity, or is it too late?
No, definitely there's an opportunity. We are still in present time, and these things are happening as we speak. I think so.
So what changes need to be done?
So I think SMEs need to start creating revenue models which matter, which create
but
actual
then they
value.
get snapped by the big giants. The moment they are reaching that point, the big giants come and acquire them or take the top.
No, but I would
leadership.
argue.
Actually, maybe. So what about if government step in and instead of allowing the big tech companies to snap them up, what about governments like the UAE, Saudi, actually, step in and say, hold on, look, we're going to turn the power dynamics, and we're gonna partly
That's
own.
a very good point. I think that's where the Saudi is going in particular, and with the regulations that UAE has. And that's a fundamental shift from the Western politics to the dynamics we are seeing in the Middle East, where leadership is much more informed and they're making strategic decisions, in my view, which would shape the future.
I would like to maybe clarify one of the objections or concerns you're raising. I think I'm hearing again and again that big techs are gulping up these new SMEs.
Because they
But
are.
actually, no, I would argue because the SMEs that you're talking about, all of them are not ISVs, right? We're talking about these days, every company is a product-led company. So technologies as a product or service, technology is core part of your value proposition or business model. But essentially, using the power of cloud, data, and AI, companies like Noon, for example, right? Noon, Amazon has no intention. I can't speak on behalf of Amazon, but it's my personal point of view that Amazon won't gulp up Noon because Amazon has just started its own quick commerce business recently. It's very famous in this region. Because people want convenience, right? As new customer experience, we want personalization, we want convenience. Everyone wants a 15 to 20 minute delivery. So Amazon is not gulping up Noon. In fact, it is creating now an environment where people like yourselves can come up with 10 motorbikes or 10 small vans and say, I want to be a 3PL logistics provider. And I have an application which can integrate as part of Amazon, and I can do the order taking, order management. I can serve X many communities in Dubai, and hence you create a business model. You can have people, you can hire people, you can create small applications, and then that goes the multiplier effect using the technology. So that's one example. What you were, I guess, referring to is more on the side of software, but even there, I would argue that Amazon or the other big tech won't gulp up these software companies, because from my experience in working in AWS, we work with more than 100,000 partners. Partners in tech means or are the similar, they're the distributor or resellers on behalf of Amazon, Microsoft or Google. So Amazon wants the partners to succeed because these partners can create the multiplier effect of AWS sales revenue for AWS. And they're working while AWS is not working actively on a customer. So customers are interacting with these small ISV players or SaaS players, and
that model benefits Amazon or the big tech giants.
It's a platform approach. Amazon has created the infrastructure across the world. You can see this year, again, there was a Bloomberg report the other day. They were saying in 2025, more than $330 billion has been invested in the cloud and AI and chip infrastructure.
Can we get rid of the big giants? Do you see? Because, with what Trump is doing right now with geopolitics and the taxation, the balance is shifting in favor of SMEs.
I suppose do we want to completely get rid of the big tech giants? I mean, I wouldn't be in favor of getting rid of them, but I would be in favor of reducing, so reducing their power and shifting that power to SMEs, because what we don't want to have is to live in a society where only a handful of digital laws control everyone, and even having such massive influence on governments as well. I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah. Again, I would argue that, I would go against the notion that Amazon is controlling the digital sphere.
Not Amazon, but the big tech.
Or the big tech in general. I think all the big techs have created an infrastructure on top of which everyone is benefiting.
A platform.
If you go back 30, 40 years, telcos came up with big tech infrastructure across the world, right? And look at how that has benefited over the last 30 years. They might have started being the first incumbent players by laying down the fiber optic or copper network or submarine cables in the oceans. But traveling 30 years forward into today's generation, look at the multiplier effect that telecommunication, telephony, internet has created, and the economies that has been created around us.
Very well put, yeah.
And supply chains and life sciences and you name it, all the industry, we are all sitting today benefiting from it. So big tech has laying the foundation for the next evolution, which is just the start of the journey. And in AWS, we say we've only unlocked, I would say, between 15 to 30% of IT workloads, and more than 60 to 70% is still not unlocked, which has not moved to the cloud yet. And AI and big data analytics is not possible without the help of the cloud.
So you remain bullish on the economy and the growth.
Yeah, and
the cooperation as well.
The journey is, I would say, still in the early stages. As per the S curve of innovation, we are just in the first. Innovation is about leapfrogging. Some companies have jumped on the top of the S curve and they're already advanced. If you look at companies like Formula One, they have millions of data set while the car is racing on the track. They're gathering multiple data and using that with advanced AI, ML, and high performance compute HPC related technology to make decisions on breakdowns, advanced predictions about the vehicle, and about the strategy of the driver as well. So
data is king. We've all heard of the term cash is king, but now data is king, and whoever owns the data is king.
Absolutely. But
and
data,
those are the tech giants. And this is where potentially governments such as Saudi Arabia, the Saudi government, the UAE government, governments that really can invest and take back control. But the window of opportunity seems to be very narrow, where we see innovation throughout the world. What do you think?
True. And I believe that, this small window of opportunity, if it is lost over here, we might lose the whole structure. So it's very critical to get the balance right, to have a system where you can have the voices from the SMEs, you can have the influence and control from the governments, and then you can have contribution from the big players because they are the leading players in the market. But if this balance is not set straight, we may be at a verge of a collapse where a few handful, as Malak was saying, would be controlling our lives, which is a very scary picture.
And when it goes wrong, it's going to be the government's fault, not the big tech companies.
I mean, look, government has always the responsibility of being the elephant in the room, right? Just for the virtue of its size and its obligation.
The real challenge is that the leaders that we have today, especially Western leaders, I doubt the capabilities and their foresight into having an in-depth understanding as much as the big tech giant leaders have. So there is a mismatch over there which can play against us.
Yeah. I've heard in this region especially, there's a lot of consciousness on how governments approach their data. And in EU last year, AWS also helped the EU put some point of views on data sovereignty concept. And in this region as well, the governments are very conscious of data sovereignty.
Every time surprised, Junaid, meeting ministers or the top leadership in the government, they're all young minds and they're all very forward looking. And that is what's fueling, in my view, the transformation that the region is seeing right now. It's not only the kingdom, it's UAE, it's other countries within this region who have this young dynamics to the leadership, which is perhaps the real reason.
Coming to the young minds, I was listening to who's also young, the CEO of Dubai's Future Foundation. he was talking at the World Economic Forum, and there was a focus on data centers, and it was really interesting to see this massive jump in demand, where he was discussing, he highlighted a couple of years ago, demand was between 1 megawatt to 10 megawatt of capacity. And a month ago, the big players, such as Microsoft, are only interested in capacities of 1 gigawatt for a data center focused on AI. So there we can see this explosion in data centers. Now, how does that translate to the supply chain and opportunities for SMEs?
Massive, I would say. You have to go back to the concepts of the cloud first to understand why it's massive. Why do companies migrate their on-premise IT equipment or workloads to the cloud? To benefit from speed of innovation, because cloud offers the advantage of being more nimble, experimentation, and using the services that you can pay as you go based on consumption. It offers sustainability in terms of your workloads that you can manage, or the energy consumption that you want to consume as per your requirements. It offers the resilience and speed to market. So once these big data centers are operational here in the kingdom and in this region as well, and across the Gulf and Middle East in general, think about all the industries that can start benefiting from this. So in Saudi, for example, Riyadh Air is recently launching their business, and they can start, benefiting from the cloud and getting cost savings, and at the same time introducing new customer experiences by moving their data to the cloud, taking advantage of data sovereignty, making sure data is secure for them, and at the same time, SMEs in the airline sector, catering companies, or logistic companies, they can start using advanced applications to anticipate customer experience ahead of time, to improve the delivery that they'll offer to the incumbent airlines that they're providing services to. So with that example, for the airlines, there's an opportunity for growth. Coming to logistics sector, for example, again, there's massive logistics hubs being created in this region again.
Where SMEs can benefit.
Where SMEs can benefit.
So,
they can.
Junaid, if you have to highlight top 3 advices for the SME in this space of AI sitting with one of the big tech companies, what would that be? How can they benefit?
I would say creating new business models, looking at the top industries that are generating revenue in this region, infrastructure, hospitality.
That is the advice. If
retail.
I today want to go and start a business, that's the advice that I should follow.
Look into the big industries, first of all.
Perfect.
Map the problems that they're trying to solve for, or the ecosystem, the capabilities that are missing from the ecosystem today.
Very good.
On how you can create new experiences, new applications using the power of cloud AI, and offer personalization, and come up with an innovative mindset, working backwards from these problems that these large giants are facing, and creating that innovative, consultative-driven approach, working alongside them to solve new problems.
Excellent.
Thank you. So I think we can all agree that there is a plethora of opportunities for SMEs, but we can also agree that there is the not so good side of these massive layoffs, and there is a small window of opportunity where we can shift the power away from these big tech companies that will benefit and are benefiting, and the only potential organization that can shift the power are governments. So Junaid, we discussed the role of government. We discussed the massive layoffs potentially in the next 5 to 10 years. We discussed the impact of small companies, SMEs. So what is your take on that, your final take?
First of all, there's no crystal ball to predict the future. But I think when it comes to technology, companies have to do scenario planning, not just companies, but governments as well. And one of the scenario planning aspects is to make the scenarios plausible. How realistic is it going to be to benefit everyone? I think government has an obligation here to look at how to create that new social value contract by maybe looking at, if one person is displaced, through this productivity gain with the help of advanced technology, how can they think about maybe AI tax or robot tax, for example?
You're feeding the government here.
I mean, I'm
I'm
just sharing my point of view. I think where the government has a, the bigger the scale, the bigger the responsibility.
Don't tell it to UK government.
So I think
the Labour government, the one thing that they have done is tax everyone. So
yeah, I think this is very sensitive, right? Because it's impacting. It has a potential to impact people. Like from Industrial Revolution, people stopped, doing things manually, and engine was created, and then automation came. So there would have been some displacement then as well, but new skills were created. New vocational setups would have been created by the government to train people on new things, tools, machinery, which created an economy back then. Similarly, looking at contemporary times and looking forward, what those plausible, practical scenarios should look like to create new social value contract with the society, government has an obligation to come in, think about regulation, at the same time not limit innovation, but think about how to create that sum-zero game which benefits everyone. Now, coming back from my experience again on when these technologies come in, as a human instinct, you tend to jump on what is the most foreseeable, immediate benefit right in front of you. And because of productivity gains that technology offers us, companies often start talking about layoffs or productivity improvements. I would rather
you were
argue.
also talking about that investment that has gone into the sector with $300 billion into the top tech giant. What's the impact that you're foreseeing from there?
Yeah, I mean, just on Bloomberg reports recently, they were reporting $330 billion would be invested by the end of this year amongst the big top tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, OpenAI. That is obviously creating a new economy of $300 billion investment, which has to create further multiplier effects for the wider economy, right?
So you see these layoffs as being temporary, and it's not the trend. They would
Absolutely.
phase out.
You have to look at the recent, we don't have to go too far. I mean, even it's happening today in the present, but in the recent past, when COVID happened, we were saved by vaccines launched by the companies like AstraZeneca or GSK or other large pharma tech companies in the world. They use advanced technology, AI, ML, and the power of data to speed up the time to market for the vaccines. We wouldn't have been saved if this wasn't launched in time. So that's one example right in front of you. You can again go back to the example of Formula One I gave earlier. Formula One is using, again, high performance compute systems to calculate and predict new insights on how to improve driver safety, driver performance, and better results during race, not just for the driver, but for the staff who's helping the car. You can look at airlines who are using this for predictive and operational improvements by putting in advanced systems, again, using millions of data points across their ecosystem to make predictions, forecast, and improving operational efficiencies.
So there are more positives than negatives, and you remain bullish.
Absolutely. I mean, companies have to create an ROI to justify the investment, but at the same time, they have to believe in the technology and have to do experiments. And we are seeing those experiments happening across all segments, whether it's financial services, government to create new citizen experiences, digital ID at Dubai airport. You would have landed and seen how you can seamlessly walk through the entrance, right? That's all because of image recognition systems, advanced analytics in the background, and high-level security, which makes this citizen experience possible.
Thank you. So we can see the future is still being written. And there is an opportunity for everyone, including SMEs. But government needs to take a stronger, a more active role in controlling the power, I suppose.
Absolutely. It's a blank canvas, which needs to be written carefully with the help of or oversight of a government. But at the same time, allow the creativity to happen and create those multiplier effects for everyone to benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Junaid. It was a pleasure having you with us. And we stand enlightened with your conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My pleasure.